welcome to this session. We will generally talk about filmmaking. And I have one of the most amazing and creative guests. I would like to welcome Ahmed Almazem. He's a filmmaker. And I would like to also welcome Rami Zanati. He's also a creative filmmaker. Very happy to be today here, sitting along creativity, I would say. When it comes to film, I guess we will all agree that we are enjoying Xposure Festival, and we are both, all of us are learning a lot when it comes to photography and film. And usually when it comes to film, I heard a saying once that who doesn't like films? I would say maybe 99% of the world population love films, so that's why we would love to learn more about films from you guys. I will start with Ahmed, and I would love to for you to introduce yourself, and we would love to know more about Ahmed, and especially the start. People usually love start stories. So how was your start in filmmaking, Ahmed?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for coming, everyone. And my name is Ahmed Almazem. I'm 23 years old. I just graduated from Sharjah Performing Arts Academy. And as you said, Abdullah, who does not like film? We all watch films. We all grew up watching them, loving them. So, you know, for me, film is magic. Film is always magic, no matter what type of film I'm watching, whether it's a short film or a feature film. And so watching them as a young kid, I was like, okay, I want to be in them. Yeah. I want to make them, I want to create them, be part of the magic, basically. So yeah, this is how it all started for me. And but when I was a kid, I was like, okay, I can do this like as a side job. I never thought of taking it as a profession. Yeah. And I did not know how films were made, but my parents taught me how it was made, especially my father, who was in the industry himself. My father was a singer, so yeah, he taught me how films are made. I would always buy, you know, we had these laser discs, the big CDs, let's say, and the DVDs. So in the DVDs themselves, there are films that had, you know, the bonus features that showed you how films were made. And this was even more magical to me. So I was like, okay, I want to do this for life. I don't want to do anything else. Yeah, so this is how it started for me.
Exactly. These are like how film captivate us, even as kids. Some kids dream about being in the film. Some kids dream about making the film, as you did, Ahmed. And we're glad you did. And we're glad you chose this profession. You came up with many amazing projects. And I'll turn to Rami. And we would love to hear your start story, Rami. How did you get into this profession?
Hello. So I would like to thank you so much for this beautiful invitation. It's always amazing to have people together to talk about film, and actually having the exposure to integrate films for the first year. This is a very exciting thing for all filmmakers and everyone who loves stories. And I think going back to the first question was who doesn't like films? I think it's the people who don't like stories, because images tell stories, music tells story. A film, a sequence of scenes tell stories. So we all love stories. We all love to share stories and hear stories from each other. And that is what I really truly found to love the most about creating films, is telling stories. And I used to watch a lot behind the scene videos and stuff of how they create this like amazing scene. It's all green screen and it's all jokes and all of that. And I thought it was like, oh, that's easy, that's nice, it looks so fun. But it is not fun at all. It is even worse than a 9-to-5 job, honestly. It's way harder. Yeah. But the result is breathtaking. When the moment you see your film being shown on a screen, that I've experienced that once. I've been to workshops, and I was like, let me learn about workshops and how to create films and stuff. Did a short film and everything, but the moment you put on a screen, it was a breathtaking moment, and that was like, I want to do this. I want any project that I do, I want to put on a screen, see the people around me, hear their reactions. That is the beauty of creating films, and having these discussions about films after the movie and all of that. That's the beauty of film to me, being a filmmaker and being in this industry.
Exactly. It's the magic of seeing that result, seeing the project you have been working on, and even adding up to what you said. people sometimes get surprised when they see the backstage and the process of making that. Even when it comes to commercial, which is a few seconds, people don't know that maybe it took hours and days. Moving on to the filmmaking, Ahmed, I'll start with you in this question. As we maybe spoke earlier, people have different opinions, people have different taste. But to you, as Ahmed and as a filmmaker, what makes a good film in your perspective?
For me, the good story.
The good story.
A good story is what makes the best film for me. Some people mix up between the plot and the story. So a plot is what goes around the story, basically. But the story is a life-changing in the film itself. If there's a good story, you'll see a good film. Let's take an example. Let's all agree that most good films are, let's say, drama, mostly drama. I would say, but it's not necessary. Not necessarily, because if you look at Lord of the Rings, for example, which is my favorite film of all time, it's a fantasy, exactly, and a 3.5-hour film. But what makes it a great film is the story, actually.
Yeah.
It's so who has seen Lord of the Rings here? Has seen? Of course, it's my favorite film of all time. What do you think makes it great? Like in your opinion? Exactly, and the story itself is much simpler actually. So, who does the change in the story? It's the hobbits, basically.
Yeah.
So what Tolkien wrote, it's very beautiful because he shows you like even the smallest person can change the course of the world, and that's what Lord of the Rings is all about.
Yeah.
The 3 movies, the whole trilogy. If you combine them together, the 8-hour film. So that's it. The smallest person can change the course of the world, and that's what happens, and that's what makes Lord of the Rings a great fantasy film. Let's say.
Indeed.
So yeah, the story it's the most important.
Indeed. So many things are important, but to you, the priority goes to the story.
Exactly.
To
yeah.
the story. Do you agree, Rami, with what Ahmed said?
I would actually agree, and I would add to it a couple of other categories, because the beauty of film is also categories. Just like how we see photography, for example, there's travel photography, landscapes, people, portraits, animals. There's a lot of types of categories. So I would say, besides the story, a lot of people, I've seen this with some of the people I know. They go into a movie, they watch the movie, they're like, but there's no objective. I didn't learn a lesson. I told them many times, I had a talk with them, sit down. Guys, you're not going into a university or a school. You don't have to come out with a lesson. It's the beauty of enjoying it. It's the visuals, it's the music, it's the scenes, it's the stories, it's the characters. Maybe this movie was made in the 80s or in the 70s, for example. All of this is historical moments that we're seeing. And these are all captured, and now we're watching it. So it's not only that you have to come out with a story, or it's not only that you have to come out with a lesson or so. It's the beauty. A lot of films now, they get award-winning films because they have exceptional cinematography, for example, or exceptional music, or exceptional soundtrack. So it is really the integration of all these things together that make a really good movie.
What about the acting, Rami? Like, I feel like when it comes to movies, all of what you said is true, and you're the professional in the field, but from the perspective of people, they look at the actor at the beginning. Is it true? Is it correct to do that?
Is it correct? I don't know.
Yeah.
But is it true? Yeah, it happens. But because there is also some magic from the actors as well, because
Yeah.
Let's say you have a very good actor, but a very simple scene, extremely simple scene, just someone making food, and he dropped something, and then he's reacting to it. As simple as it gets, but if he's a good actor, he will make it an amazing scene. And I believe Ahmed would agree with me on that, right?
100%. So my degree is in acting, basically. So I definitely agree with what Rami said. So acting is basically, behaving truthfully under imaginary circumstances.
Yeah.
And any actor who can do that is a great actor to me. And you look at someone like Leonardo DiCaprio, like Johnny Depp, just naming some of my favorites. But you have supporting actors who steal the scene sometimes. Like if you look at Martin Scorsese's latest film, Killers of the Flower Moon, you have Robert De Niro is in the film, DiCaprio, but the actor or actress who stole the film for me is Lily Gladstone, basically. Because she didn't do much, actually, in the film.
Yeah.
Or she didn't have much dialogue. But she speaks with her eyes. And an actor who speaks with his or her eyes.
And emotions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what makes a great actor for me. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So many things makes a great movie. Storytelling, acting, and everything else. And it's a team effort eventually.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not never an individual effort in terms of making a film. Never.
It's never, you're never alone, basically. So even let's say in theater, if you're doing a one-man show, it's never really a one-man show because you have the lighting designer, you have the sound engineer, or music composer. It's always a team effort. Let's say, okay, you start up with an idea, but you always, call for help. And calling for help is not a bad thing. Some people say, oh no, I want to do it alone, no one helped me, but that's not true, basically.
Exactly.
And we were just talking backstage, we were saying that Rami and I, after a film ends, we sit down and watch the credits because it's very important.
It's feel like appreciation to those people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even the man on set who brings you tea or coffee, he's very important because
Exactly.
in making the story, basically. So it's all a team effort.
Exactly. So speaking about teams, Rami, do you choose your team carefully?
Yes.
How so?
It's not about how large is your team, but how much you can trust each member, but actually expressing each one's potential to the fullest. So it's a balance of leadership. As a director, you have to lead the team and try to actually express your vision and let them understand that this is your vision and we're all working towards this one goal to achieve this vision, without having them try to change the vision. Because it's very important that we have had many instances where someone is actually so passionate, but he wants to change the vision, but now we're at the stage, we're on set and everything is kind of hard. It has to go back to the director. So, and if the director is really good with his decisions, then everything will go good. So it's not about how large is your team. My short film, Good Evening, it was only created with 2 people, just me and my friend. He directed, and we both co-produced it. I shot it, edited it, and for example, sound design. I was like, who should I get for sound design? I don't know people that I trust much with sound design. I just got my brother, and he's sitting right there. He doesn't know anything about sound design, but I just told him this is how you do sound design. 1, 2, 3. I just need you to do this. That's it. He did it, and it turned out good. With the actors, they knew their roles, so we didn't have to interfere much. They had their own input in it, and we agreed to it. So it was just 2 people just handling the whole film. But everyone knew their role and everyone was working towards that vision that we all had and we all shared and we all understood. And that's what really made the film a great film, and it won an award in Al Ain and multiple other film festivals. So because the team really trusted each other and they knew each one's role and they just gave each one their capacity, not increasing, not less than it.
Amazing. So it's not the number, it's the quality. It's the quality of work and it's the qualifications of people you have. So one man can be behalf of 10 in the set.
I did my short film, Baba Ja'far. We were only 2 people behind the camera as well. And when I say this fact to people, it shocks them. But it's really, if you have a story that you're dying to tell, basically, this is enough to drive you make something that is very creative, even if you have, technical issues, of course, which always happens on set. It always happens on set. Like, for example, when I did my short film, Baba Ja'far, I didn't have a mic. My mic broke. My boom mic literally broke. Yeah. But I had an option to stop the film, to stop the process on the first day, or continue. And I decided to continue because there's a story that you are dying to tell, basically. Exactly. And it really paid off in the end, alhamdulillah.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. So it takes even this, the resistance, the soul of wanting to just complete the job and the project. And I feel like it's sort of, is there an attachment as a filmmaker to that film? Do you, like people say, when an author comes and talks about his book, he treats it and he talks about it like the book is his baby. Do you feel the same way to films?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
For me, Baba Ja'far is about my grandfather who passed away, Allah yarhamah. And my grandfather battled Alzheimer for more than 10 years. And it's going to be screened tomorrow, actually. You're all welcome to come and watch it. So, yeah, it's about him. And I had the idea in COVID. Because, you know, in COVID, I was too afraid to even go and kiss his forehead, basically, when I would go and visit before 8 p.m., where we were not allowed to go out of the
Yeah,
house.
yeah.
So yeah, I missed him so much basically, and I really wanted to do the film. I missed filmmaking because I stopped for a couple of years because of my studies at drama school.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I want to make a film. Okay, what should I make? And then I came up with the idea of writing Baba Ja'far. So it's inspired by real life events,
Yes.
not necessarily what happened.
Yeah.
And I wanted to highlight my friendship with my grandfather. So I created a whole different plot for it.
Yes.
But the quality and the story is really what I truly feel inside. So this is what, if you have something like that, this is what drives you actually. And you know, I had the sound issue, the technical issue, and I was really afraid actually at some point. But when it was screened at film festivals and I saw people, the film was getting them really emotional and they were attached to it, I was so blessed. And I think Rami, you would agree the same, you know, while creating short films. Rami and I actually participated at in many film festivals.
Yeah.
So when you have that feeling, you know, Rami said something beautiful. You feel exhausted and tired writing the film, or you know, when you're creating it on set, but seeing the final result and seeing how people react, it all pays off eventually.
Amazing, amazing. And what do you say about that, Rami? Do you have attachment to the films you make?
Definitely, there is always attachment to every single project, to every single scene, to every single shot that you've shot. And also there's one term that we have in filmmaking, it's called kill your babies. It's when you have a lot of shots and you have to, while editing, you have to like give away some of the shots because you have better ones. But this moment is actually very emotional. It's like, I remember doing this shot, I remember compositing it and everything, and now I have to give it away. So imagine the attachment goes to every single line, even in the script. Every shot, and it's always present in every project, I would believe. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So it's and I feel like this attachment that leads to that great work. You're doing something not in order just to finish it or to wrap it. You feel like you're attached to every part of this project. I'll come to another question, and usually my questions will come from a perspective of a person who just goes to the movies and try to choose something. And when it comes to even the cinema or watching a film at home, we all have been through opening up a movie and then stopping after 10 and 15 minutes and seeing that, oh, no, that's not the one, and I got bored and everything. So as a filmmaker, how do you keep the watcher or whoever watches this film attached, entertained, wanting to know the rest of the story and wanting to reach to the end of that film? How do you do that?
That's actually a great question. But there's a difference between how we can achieve that in a feature film and in a short film. In a feature film, you know, you have an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, and you know, a feature film is split into 3 acts basically. You have the beginning, you have the middle, and you have the end. Yeah. For a feature film, if the first 15 minutes are not interesting enough, this is where you close the film. So as a screenwriter and you know, a filmmaker, how can you grab the audience in the first 15 minutes, in the first act basically? And that's something that many people fail to achieve. But how can you do that in the first 15 minutes? For short films, you don't have time basically. Yeah. You have to do it immediately, you know, first minute or first 2. How can you grab the audience's attention? So that's always a tricky thing. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And Rami, what's your technique? If you can share it with us, how do you keep the watcher or the viewer attached to that film?
Sure. Well, it's really giving a bit of mystery to the beginning of the film. So, or it can be one of the two things. Either you give some mystery, so people want to know what's going on, why are we here, and throw them in the middle of the action. Like now, right now we're here, we're in this place. There's no, I'm establishing by every shot and everything. I'm establishing the scene and everything and the environment. But the time is ticking. The clock is ticking. You're already seeing things happen. So it's a way of, it depends of course on the genre of the film, but I believe like this is one of the techniques that, okay, because this is something, one of the basics, which is get people into the scene quick and out quick. Don't let them stay in a certain place for too long. You don't need to establish too much. You don't need to give too much information. I mean, and that's the beauty of film, because we have something called the mise en scene. Mise en scene is basically everything in the frame tells something about the whole environment and about the scene. So I can make a scene that's entirely just one frame, one shot, in and out. That's it. That's the whole scene. It's just one shot. But I made you get into the scene in the middle of the action and leave as soon as I gave you the message that I want to give you. I just go out into the next scene. So that way, a lot of amateur filmmakers, they tend to do this mistake where they prolong a scene too much. They give way too much information. They make the actors say information. So you don't have to do that. People are smart enough to realize these things. So this is a mistake we all do, but we have to go through it so that we learn from it. And I always say that if I get into a movie and it's bad, I will never leave it until I finish it, because they have reasons. And when I watch it, I actually analyze and I be like, okay, I know why he did this. Probably he didn't have enough resources. Maybe he didn't think of something else. Maybe there was no equipment. So a bad film is always something to learn from as well. You can always learn from bad films. And I believe, of course, if we as filmmakers, when we go back to seeing our first projects, you know, they look bad, but we learn something, and we're very proud of actually one day doing such a thing, and now we're somewhere else, right?
Absolutely. I think you really never stop learning. The moment we stop learning is the moment we're in trouble, and that's a quote from one of my teachers at drama school. Drama school, theater school, yeah, that's a slang that we use. Yeah. So yeah, the moment we stop learning is the moment we're in trouble. For example, like I did Baba Ja'far back in 2021. If I would do it now, I would do it differently. Yeah. Definitely, because there's always, stuff that you can improve, basically, and yeah.
Exactly, and especially in these times, the development, the new equipment, the change of the mindset of people and how they view things, things keep changing fast. And I want to go back to something you said, and I want to hear it from your perspective, both of you. And I'll start with you, Ahmed. What makes a bad film?
Different aspects, really. But it depends. Like we were talking back in the green room, we were saying, of course, there are different genres of films. There are some films that you would be attached to, and some films not. So depending on the genre you like, but it's something that we've discussed right now. For example, in a feature film, if the first 15 minutes aren't attractive, nothing really interesting happens, it's immediately, for me personally, it's immediately a bad film. Yeah. And I hate like when filmmakers complicate films. Because as Rami said, the audience are not stupid. They would understand. Yeah. Less is more. The simpler you make it, the more beautiful your film would be. Simplicity, it's mostly the key for me, yeah.
Amazing. What about you, Rami? And your perspective?
What makes a bad film? Sometimes I see some films or some short films, and I always think, like, have they shown this to other people? Like, did
you take an opinion from it?
Did they get opinions from other people? Like, I wonder. Or like, okay, I'm sure this person doesn't have honest people around him. all the people are just hyping him up, but they're not giving him honest opinions. So being able to actually listen and get honest opinion and criticism and applying it on yourself and on the next project is very important. And I see a lot of people, they don't seem to get criticism. They tend to complain. Like, if I would say something, they'll be like, no, but I had a complaint. I understand. I'm just stating my opinion. Yeah. I didn't mean anything. This is all learning process, Yeah. So a bad film is, when they complicate too much, when they try to show something, oh, look, it's in your face. No, it's much simpler than that. Make it natural. Watch films. See how they do it, how simple they do it. You can apply that.
And as we said, the most important thing, is the story. What's the story? That's what I meant when I said, like some people mix between the plot and the story. So the plot is what my friend over there, Ahmed al-Bastaki, Yeah, so they mix between the plot and the story. The plot, it's what goes around the story, but the story is much simpler. It's the life-changing. And back at drama school, a British filmmaker, Gordon Anderson. So we did a short film project with him when I was in my 4th year, my graduation year. He told us that quote basically, because some people mix between them. And the moment you realize that, you go like, ah, okay, that's the mistake I did back in my short film basically, and that's what I meant when I said that if I did Baba Ja'far again, I would do it like 5 times better or 10 times better.
Differently, because as you said, you keep learning, and the moment you stop learning, and everything else stops. Ahmed and Rami, you are in a profession and a business of making film. Making film, basically, the only thing you want is to entertain, inspire, get the likes and the admire of that movie to people. So eventually you want the people to like that film. So I'll go back to critics and people criticizing your film. How do you deal with opinions on your film? And if you got, for example, a negative opinion, someone says that movie it's not too good. What does that make you feel, and what does that make you do?
Absolutely. Don't take it personal. Never take it personally, because the moment you start taking stuff personal is the moment you stop learning and developing, basically. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Rami? Critics. It's always tricky with critics, because
it's a tricky one. Yeah. Because I'm sure probably I have taken it personally at once, maybe at least or something.
We all did, definitely.
So you have a history with that.
Human beings,
It all
yeah.
happens.
Emotional artists, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But it's really, don't take it personal. Take it as an opportunity to learn, apply. Okay, actually ask questions as well. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? You can ask questions. You can hear from people. Don't be afraid to do mistakes. That's very important, because once you don't exceed, or you try not to do something that's new, you will be at your own level. You won't exceed and you won't level up.
Exactly. You know, even the reason I asked you this question, maybe like on just a basic level, when you edit a video on your phone, and you just keep editing, and it takes hours for you to edit that video and use the apps and try to download and everything. And then suddenly you show it to people, and just basically they say, it's not good. Yeah, so it's that shock to you, that all of the hours that you spent went in vain. So I guess the absolute, or the end goal for a filmmaker is to get that inspiration, likes of people.
And because it's a difficult one as well, because there's different people, different opinions, different categories, different interests. So some people, they like action. If I give them a romance scene, they will not care. Some people, they like horror. If I give them a comedy scene, they will not care. And people's humor is different, people's interests are different. So try not to just limit it to, oh, this person said something, then it means this. Have a variety of opinions. Have a variety of sources of information, of opinion, of criticism, not just one, and don't just lock yourself in there.
That's a great point, actually. And my advice is, like, don't be harsh on yourself as well. When you get the opinions, don't be harsh on yourself. Always, be proud of what you've done, and it's always a learning experience, basically. Yeah, so don't be harsh on yourself, and always trust your instincts as well.
Of course. Ahmed and Rami, when it comes to films, as you know, like when it comes to film, there are cameras, there are scenes, there are location. We hear many stories about shoot around or while shooting that film, they have encountered storms, they have encountered, for example, a dispute between the team. So even as you said, technical issues, problems are very common, and it may stop that project, it may delay that project. So it's a thing that, of course, you expect. Ahmed, I'll start with you. How do you deal with issues and problems that you may encounter during a shoot?
Sure thing. I'm gonna. It's not my personal experience, of course, but I'm gonna answer by sharing an experience of my favorite filmmaker of all time, Steven Spielberg. And when Steven Spielberg did Jaws, he faced a technical issue with the shark, basically. And it was let's say his first big feature film that he did. He did a couple before, but this is like his first big major blockbuster. So he faced the technical issue with the shark, and everyone kept blaming him. The studio, we're late, we need to finish and everything. And he responded like while sharing the experience, like a few years later, he was like, I was really afraid in the inside, but I did not show it on the outside. And that would come up with the solution itself. Like, do not show that you are afraid to people, because you're the filmmaker and everyone sees you as the leader, basically. Always stay calm and listen to your crew and team, like trust them as well. So yeah, that itself would, yeah, don't get frustrated. That's the best thing that you can do on set.
Great.
If you get frustrated, you'd be in trouble and everything would get mixed up. You would have a fight with the team and everything. So yeah, stay calm. That's my one advice.
Great, because you're the leader, and if you got frustrated or if you felt you're out of hope, you'll transfer that feeling to every single one in the team. So it feels like it's a responsibility. How do you do it, Rami? And how do you react in terms of when you face problems in the project?
True. That's I think Ahmed has said it perfectly. Where you have to hold your ground, be calm, stay calm, don't show it, and it's always listen. And the simplest thing, maybe a solution can be just a piece of tape, as simple as that. So don't like listen to people's like. Opinions and stuff. Maybe there's a solution somewhere that's very simple, you know. And it also comes with thinking outside of the box at some times, and like, for example, I personally, for example, let's say I'm a director. It doesn't mean that I only direct. No, I have knowledge in sound design, in the camera, in all the aspects of the camera, in production, in set, in all of these, and even in acting. So all of these, try to get knowledge as much as you can in your free time. Try to learn, try to see, don't just have yourself in a certain bubble of your role. Have other experiences as well. That way you can at least, when somebody suggests something to you, you understand what they're talking about and you're open for suggestions.
I think as well, it's great what Rami said, and you won't really know unless you start doing it yourself, you know?
Yeah.
That's the best learning that you can have, is actually like, go and make a short film, see how it's done, and it's always going to be a learning experience for you.
Amazing, amazing. So, being a leader and acting calm in these situations is the key. As a last question, you mentioned something to me, and we both, all of us encounter that feeling while watching a movie, and you feel like you have understood nothing. Yeah, you have understood nothing. I don't know what's going on. What are they talking about? We have reached the end. And you even mentioned me something about don't say it loud and clear and over. People are smart enough to understand. So it comes to script writing. How important is script writing?
It's actually the heart and the soul of the whole film.
Yeah.
There's no film without a script. That's how you start. Greta Gerwig, actually, she's one of my favorite filmmakers at the moment. She did Little Women, Lady Bird, and recently the Barbie film. She said, I like to experience the pain of writing than the experience of not writing, basically.
Okay.
And she means by that, basically what I just said, you won't know unless you try. And responding to your question about not understanding a film is like what we discussed. Sometimes you overcomplicate stuff. And there are some filmmakers that say like, okay, I want to make a film that is visual, that is absurd, let's say. And most of the times, actually, people don't understand because there's no story actually in it, and they just want to make it visual.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is the situation, and that is the case.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And how story is important to you, Rami?
So from script writing, I would say that it's like the blueprint of the project, just like any other industry. Let's say if we're talking about construction, for example, you need a blueprint that everybody would understand, and this is the goal. So after having discussions and forming the team, this is the script that's going to go to everyone. So the music producer is going to see this, he's going to understand the feel, the story. And I would stress on the word feel, because other than story, a film is really about feel as well. Because you're showing it to human. So people, they feel something. You may not deliver a story, but you may deliver a feeling. a feeling, whether it's being uncomfortable, a feel of relief, anger, sadness, happiness, whatever it is, it's a feel. So this blueprint delivers this feel and story, and it's a blueprint that is understood by the entire crew, and they all have to understand it. So also a script has to be written, well written, that it's easily grasped by everyone. Instead of having different version for each of the each department in the crew.
Amazing, amazing. So all of these aspects. I don't feel like any aspect of a film that we have talked about is sometimes more important, less than the other. They all make a great film. And reaching to my final question, maybe, as a filmmaker, Ahmed and Rami. Ahmed, I'll start with you. What are the hopes and dreams, and where do you wish to reach in this industry?
Well, that's a great question. As a filmmaker from, the United Arab Emirates, from Sharjah, I want to keep, delivering stories that has to do with our cultures, and our personal experiences. Because, we all watch films, from Hollywood, or, Bollywood, from all over the world. And actually, I want to share our stories, basically, to the world. I just want to keep doing that. And as we discussed backstage, awards are really not... well, they are important. I'm not going to say they're not important, because, it's always nice to win an award, but they are not the most important thing. The most important thing is that you keep creating stories that, make people feel something, that, touch their hearts. If I can maintain doing that, basically, I'm a happy filmmaker, yeah.
Amazing. And we wish you all the best, Ahmed, and to continue the great work that you're doing. Rami, where do you want to reach?
So growing up as a kid, we used to watch a lot of the Home Alones and all of these child films and it was all the family films, and it featured a lot of children and stuff, and we all wanted to be like them and live their stories and live their lives and stuff. So I've noticed that we in the Middle East region, we don't have that powerful family series or industry going on, family films industry going on internationally, to the power of being international. So I hope one day we're able to create what we used to see as kids.
Amazing, amazing. And I guess I will wrap it up with the very short advices you would give to a filmmaker, Ahmed. A new filmmaker, I would say.
A new filmmaker. I mean, be confident, be proud of yourself. You won't know unless you try. The story. It's the most important thing. What is the story that you want to deliver to the world, basically? That's what I want to say. If you have a story that you are dying to tell people, even if it's your first short film, but if there's a story that you're dying to say, just say it. Just do the film. Yeah.
Amazing. Rami, three top advices.
I would say don't stress on the technical things. Experiment as much as you can with whatever equipment you have, with whatever resources you have. Experiment as much as you can. Don't be afraid to create something that may seem bad or may be hated by people, or you will get criticism. Don't be afraid. Create something. Be proud of it. I would say also observe as much as you do. Try to learn. Try to take your time with learning in your free time. See how people do things. Think of how you can do it differently or the same. A lot of people have talking about being a copycat. Don't be a copycat, but at least learn from the techniques. Learn from our teachers. So that would be my advice.
Amazing. Ahmed Almazem, Rami Zanati, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and sharing these amazing advices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you to Sharjah Media Exposure. It's been a blast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.